Good evening. I am David Rower, and welcome to How Many Licks Does It Take to Get to the Center of a Tootsie Pop, or How Many Takes Does It Take Me to Get to Finishing a Discussion Video Without Retakes. This week's topic is distinguishing between freedom and liberty. The idea of freedom and liberty are rooted in Western civilization, but have pop culture references that many of us are familiar with. For instance, Mel Gibson in his movie Braveheart, where he challenges men and said they can take our lands, they can take our lives, but they can't take our freedom. Or in the Avengers movie, where Loki tells a crowd, it is the unspoken truth of humanity that you crave subjugation. The bright lure of freedom diminishes your life's joy. Not that any of us actually believe that. One of the earliest references to freedom comes from the children of Israel, where Moses frees them from Egyptian bondage and leads them out of slavery. On the surface, the ideas of liberty and freedom look quite the same. In fact, when I looked them up in Merriam-Webster's dictionary, they're almost identical. The dictionary defines freedom as liberation from slavery or restraint, or from power of another, and political right, while it defines liberty as freedom from physical restraint and freedom from arbitrary or despotic control. Very similar. Liberty can be a synonym for freedom, yet Dr. Carrie Roberts, in the first video we watched for this course, asked us not to do that, not to make them synonymous. Freedom, Dr. Roberts says, emerged in northern Germanic lands, and it's Germanic in an etymology, and it's similar to the word for neighbor or neighborhood. While liberty is Mediterranean, it is Roman in origin, and it refers to right and corresponding duties. Walsh begins his discussion in Aristotle's Concepts of Freedoms by saying the word eleutheria could be translated as liberty or freedom. Simply put, freedom is the capacity to guide one's own actions. Liberty comes from the state, which Aristotle refers to as the master and slave. Walsh makes it clear on page 5 that we don't have to agree with Aristotle to learn from Aristotle. And in fact, education for Aristotle was only for men, not for women, something we disagree with Aristotle on. Cicero rejects the Greek concept of liberty that was synonymous to the ancient Athenian democracy. Cicero prefers Roman republicanism, which makes sense, him being a Roman. In Cicero's Roman republicanism and contested means of libertas, Jeff Kennedy makes it clear. Freedom and democracy are Greek. Republicanism and liberty are Roman. In Magna Carta, the secular miracle of the English-speaking peoples, Daniel Hannan quotes Lord Denning. Magna Carta is the greatest constitutional document of all time. I believe him to be correct in this. Greater than the Greeks and their idea of democracy, which applied only to a small group of men, greater than the Romans and the Republic, which applied to some but not all, the Magna Carta covered everybody. Originally, the Magna Carta was a reaction to the 11th century version of the king gambling away his property in a card game. Follow this. King John had hoped that the Pope's political backing would solidify the king's power, but it only inflamed the anger of the nobles against the king. To quell that fire, King John signed away some of his power, and by virtue of his actions, created the blueprint for the American Democratic Republic. In American Christian Heritage, we learned previously that preachers in the First Great Awakening did more than just spread the word of God and freedom from one's own demons. They spread republicanism, which these preachers inspired the frontiersmen to reject oppressive governments and seek out liberty in this new land. Thank you. Look forward to seeing all of you next week. Bye.